In this demo, I will walk you through how to use the Azure Data Factory to copy the data from Databricks Managed Tables um, to the Azure SQL. First, for this one, we need to create a pipeline area and then we need to use the copy activity. In this copy activity, the source should has to be Azure Database Delta Lake, and the destination or sync will be Azure SQL table. Okay, this is at the high level. And for this, if you are using the copy activity, so copy from the managed tables to the Azure SQL, ADF recommends to use a staging because internally it reads the records from the Azure managed table and writes into one of the AWS into the Parquet file format, and the same Parquet will be ingested into Azure SQL. After that, the Parquet file will be removed. Okay, now we'll see how we need to configure internally what all the steps need to follow at high level to achieve this task. Okay, we'll move on to the flow diagram. Uh, we can explain this in high level, then we'll try to see the components what we used at the ADF, Azure with ADF. Once we have this ADF created, so we need to create a link service dataset for the corresponding database and Azure SQL. So we'll first cover the Azure SQL, which is pretty much simple steps we need to follow compared to the Databricks. Um, okay, once we after the Azure SQL has been created, so we need, okay, within the Azure ATF, we should have the access connection, right? So how what is the medium of the connection between the ADF to Azure SQL? I will use the Azure Managed Identity, which I will show here. This will come into picture when you create a link service. When you create a link service, when you create a link service here for Azure database, it will ask what is the authentication type. So we'll just select the system assigned managed entity, and ADF it generates an identity managed identity time. Just save this one in your notepad because this will be used in many places. As we need to provide this managed entity access to the Azure SQL database and many other places. Once we have this managed identity, create managed identity being created, so we need to spin off the Azure SQL. Once Azure SQL has been, once we started creating the Azure SQL, the final step before this Azure SQL has been created, we need to make sure that we select the admin as we need to make sure that we need to select the admin as this managed identity name for this server and the corresponding table database. And what I did along with this one, I also used the um, SQL authentication so that I will be able to log in from the SQL authentication and create this metadata table for me, because the table has to be there when we pull data from this my Databricks managed table to this table, Azure SQL table. I created this table with empty table I have created and then um, pasted here. Okay, this is the flow with Azure SQL. Coming to the different flows with the Databricks. Mm, okay, the first, of course, we need to create a link service for Databricks, the corresponding dataset. For this dataset to create, we need to spin off the all-purpose clusters in Databricks. Then only the dataset will be created. As we said, like we need to give the system as entity. We need to navigate to the Databricks and provide the contributor access to my system as entity for the ADF. This is step one. We'll go to this and see. Okay, so let me navigate to this data factory. Let me navigate to this data bricks. Let me do it fresh. Okay, data bricks. We'll go to the IAM, and then you can see the role assignment. I have added this managed entity as a contributor access here. So we need to provide that is the first step. Here, that is the first step here. We need to provide the contributor access. Once that is being done, within the Databricks in the cluster, once we created the cluster, okay, I will go to the workspace compute. For the compute, we need to select the unrestricted policy and to select the unrestricted policy. So once we have this unrestricted policy, then only in the access mode I will be able to select the standard share. Otherwise, it will not, otherwise this computer will not be shared because this compute needs to be accessed from the managed entity, not from the like personal account what I just logged in. We need to make sure that this has been selected, and the access wise we need to provide the permissions of yeah, we need to select this ADF Central India, like whatever like manage entity for the ADF, and it has to can manage. Okay, you select and then click save button. This is one more access you need to provide at the cluster level, and one more access is at the catalog level. So to go to this catalog and put the permissions, and then here also you select the that managed entity, and I have selected the all privileged access so that I will not get any problems while any problems while running this code. I just selected this all privileges. Okay, so this is first initially the contributor access which we need to provide for the ADF, and then within the data objects we need to provide this managed table and data cluster access and permissions. Okay. Okay. As we discussed within the sync, ADF uses a stage table. Right, for this stage table we need to create a Gen2 folder, Gen2 folder, and then once a folder is created, of course, when it gives system identity, the blob contributor access. Let's go to do this ADF Gen2. This is ADF Gen2. So this is my content storage account, and I created one of the container. I created one of the content called ADF STG logs. STG logs. Here, like once the pipeline has been executed, automatically the packet has written under the folder will be which will be created, and then that will be packet will be removed once the pipeline execution is completed. Um, For this container, we need to provide access to we need to provide access to this data factory. Um, and to provide access to this data factory manager entity. Provide access to the data factory manager entity. Um, container for this container and to provide the blob container access to container manager entity. Okay, this run, if you do this one, like ADF will be able to access this storage location. Again, Databricks would also have access to the storage location, right? Because it has to write the file Parquet files to the stage location. For this, we need to create the database access connector. Um, and for this database access connector, we need to provide the blob current contributor access for this stage table. Okay, first let me uh, first let me go to this Azure screen. Let me go to this Azure screen. So this is the database access connector. And to create the database access connector, Create this database access content. Okay, once the database access content has been created, to navigate to the storage location, uh, and the IAM and the role assignment, you provide the upon storage block contributor access for this access connector. For this access connector, right. Once this is done, then we need to navigate to the Databricks. And now Databricks, click on the catalog and in this external data. So first, we need to create the credentials first. This is the credentials I created. Um, this is the Databricks ID subscription one. Uh, this is we need to pick this contributor connector ID from the status connector. This is the resource ID which we take copy and we need to paste it in the credentials. We need to paste it in the credentials. Um, we need to paste it in the credentials. Okay. Then going back again, once credentials have been created, we need to create the external location. This is the external location I have created, and this is the credentials I created for this one. Okay. I mention that one as well. Edit. Mention this one. Give the credentials. And give this and also give this URL for which location you need to have this access to the access. Okay, give this one. This is the external location. External location is separation, and also we need to provide the permission, right? For this external location, ADF should be having the all privileges, because from here only the ADF has to read the files and then write it back to the um, Azure SQL. So that is the reason I have given all the privileges for the ADF as well. I given all the privileges for the external location, all the privileges. Okay. Okay, along with this here, this for this external location also need to grant the all the privileges at the catalog level. All the privileges at the catalog level. So if we go here and if I go to this catalog, go to this permission. So I have given access to this this Azure Data Factory. And so once this is done, I need to spin off the entire cluster and then execute it, and this the files will be transferred from the database. The file the records which are there in database will be transferred from the staging table first and then move into Azure SQL. This is end to end.